Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak with you today. I'm going to take some of the concepts that John and Bruce talked about, the specific laws, and talk to you about how we apply those in the retail environment. So the agenda for today is first a little bit of a background about Wal-Mart and our privacy program, and then I'll focus on two specific areas, marketing and information security. I probably don't need to give a lot of introduction as to who Wal-Mart is, probably fairly well known. But what this slide shows is the challenge of privacy within Wal-Mart. You can see from the slide we have approximately 176 million customers per year. We have 2 million associates worldwide. That's a lot of information about a lot of people that we need to make sure that we are adequately protecting. At the bottom of the slide, we talk a little bit about our hardware systems, 19,000 PCs at our home office alone, and over 500,000 associates that have email addresses. So at Wal-Mart, we really think about privacy as 5 categories. First is business use, looking at what types of information we collect and how we use that information. Next, we move on to security. Once we have that information, how do we make sure that we protect that information? We look at the technologies. What are the new technologies out there that will be changing the privacy landscape? And how is Wal-Mart looking to use that information? We look at our records, making sure that we have the right records program in place. We can effectively manage our records. And the 5th category is global. On the previous slide, you may have seen that we have operations in 16 markets. Our global area looks at the flow of that information globally. We're going to focus on marketing, and this really breaks marketing into the 2 areas. The first area is the traditional channels. What have we seen in the past? We've seen postal mail, phone, email. We're all very familiar with receiving marketing through those different areas. The laws in that area are pretty straightforward. We've been dealing with those for years. But what's interesting in the privacy area is the rising technologies. The first one I listed is an offshoot of the phone, pre-recorded calls. And it's interesting because it really changes the dynamic of phone calls. It makes it so you no longer have to pay someone to call every single individual. You can record once and then blast it out to multiple individuals. This is one that has actually recently been looked at by the FTC and new regulations on how this can be used in the context of marketing. The second is text messages, and this really should be labeled as mobile. We all know that the cell phone has become very popular. It's something that almost everyone carries with them all the time. That makes it a very interesting channel, a very good channel for marketers to try to get the marketing to the people. Recently, that's even become more interesting as we look at geolocational services. So if I search for a restaurant and I'm in a particular area, the search would then generate results based on where I am located. Next category is online behavioral advertising. Bruce gave a great outline of what that is and how that's really changing the marketplace. And the last is social networking. The key thing that really ties all of these together is this is where people where people spend their daily lives. They spend their lives on Facebook, they spend their lives on MySpace, and they do it using mobile technologies. Certainly we've discussed that policymakers are looking at this, the FTC, Congress, even some states have looked at what can they do in the area of social networking, what can they do with behavioral advertising. There's also a lot of industry movement out there, so I've listed a couple of groups here, the Network Advertising Initiative, or NAI, the Interactive Advertising Board, or IAB. Both of these have issued principles for the use of behavioral advertising. And the Mobile Marketing Association, MMA, has issued principles on text messaging. So this is a specific example within Walmart. If you go to our Walmart website, at the top of the page we have an ad, and this ad is part of the Yahoo ad network. We think that it's important to make sure that our customers understand what that ad means and what rights they have with respect to that ad. So there is a link on our page that says about our ads, and it's the box that I've shown here. It tells our customers what that ad is, how we obtain their information and how we disclose their information, and then what options they have with respect to that ad. I also mentioned that Sam's Club is a little bit different on its website. Instead of being part of an ad network, Sam's Club is focused only on its own site. So it's within the four corners of the Sam's Club website. At Walmart, one of our important things, and Bruce alluded to this a little bit, is how do we give customers control of their information? It is our job to serve our customers, and we want to make sure that we are giving them the messages that they want to receive in the ways that they want to receive them. So we have developed what we call our Customer Preference Center, and this sets out the major channels that we use for advertising, and it gives our customers an opportunity to either opt in or opt out of the various channels. So for instance, if you want to receive email messages from us, you can opt in to receive email. Same with phone. If you don't want to receive those, you can opt out. Next, I'm going to move on to information security. So once we have information, how do we make sure that that information is adequately protected? We have policies, procedures, and guidance that help us ensure the protection of information. The policies are internal rules for handling information. It includes such things as data classification, understanding that not all data that we handle is the same. We handle some very sensitive data, like social security numbers, and other data that just does not deserve that same kind of protection. An example would be data that's already publicly available. We want to make sure that we look at that sensitive category, and those get the highest protections. We also have policies established around responding to breaches, making sure that our equipment is used in the right way, and this protects not only the company's information, but also sets the expectations for associates as to how they should be using our equipment, which in the end, it helps our associates. And the final is how we treat mobile devices, which I'll get into in a little bit more detail on the next slide. Once we have the policies in place, we look at the procedures. How do we put this into the daily operations of our Walmart associates? One area is system design. As we build new applications within Walmart, we want to make sure that the privacy that we have in our policies is built into each of the systems that we develop. So we have a process to look at new systems for those privacy components. We also want to look at how we are sharing information, make sure that we are properly sharing the information, and we have the protections in place for that information. I'll go ahead and skip on to the guidance column. Having the policies and procedures isn't enough. It's important to make sure that our associates understand what these policies and procedures are and how they need to put those into place. So we do that through our communication that we give out to our associates, the training that we give them, as well as auditing our compliance with our policies and procedures. Now, a specific area of information security is what to do in case there is a data security incident. As I mentioned on the last slide, we've established the policies and procedures. One particular area that we've focused on is mobile devices. As our associates become more mobile, we want to make sure that the tools that we give them, the mobile tools, are protected. We do that through several ways. One way is obviously passwords, but we go further. We look at encryption and even the ability to wipe certain devices. So if that mobile device is lost, we are able to eliminate the fear of losing any information. We also want to make sure that as incidents occur, we know about those incidents. So we have an aggressive incident response. We have a centralized 24/7 call center. This is available for associates to call in incidents. Once they call those in, we are immediately able to begin work on the incident, find out what happened and what needs to happen. The second piece is training to ensure our associates are aware of our procedures and make sure that they are properly using the tools that are available. The final piece is breach notification. And as John mentioned, there are a lot of state laws out there on breach notification. So our first step is always to comply with state law. But we like to go further than that. A lot of the state laws out there are limited to electronic information. We think that it's important when there is a risk of harm that we provide notification to the individual. And we think that the risk of harm standard is the right standard to have. If there is some risk, then we want to make sure that the customer, the associate, knows about the risk and is able to perform action on that risk. They can get fraud alerts. There has been some talk out there of making a non-risk of harm standard in which as soon as the information is lost, a company would need to notify. And we are concerned with this standard because it creates a little bit of over-notification in that customers would be receiving a lot of notifications about lost data, but there really wouldn't be anything for them to do because there was no risk. It also would desensitize them when they really receive a notification that there is some action that they need to take. The final topic I want to talk about is one trend that we've been seeing with respect to fraud and brand abuse. It's something that has really been growing, and it really affects Walmart when people use our name to commit fraud. So one example there is the gift card scams. There are entities out there that claim to offer Walmart gift cards in exchange for people providing their information. Our customers often believe that they provided their information to Walmart because they were promised a Walmart gift card and are concerned with how we use that information. So it's important to Walmart to first take down fraudulent sites when we find them. And the second piece is communication to our customers. And this is 2 screenshots from our Walmart website that provides some education to our customers that helps them to understand when they are looking at a Walmart site and when they are looking at a non-Walmart site. So I want to thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you today.